So today we are going to solve the another example of heat equation. Which is one dimensional in the rectangular coordinate system. And with Dirichlet type boundary condition. So the question is given in the form that we have equation which we called equation number 1. We have the boundary conditions, which is equivalent to write u0 of t is equal to 0, u L of t is equal to 0, and we have initial condition as this, which means that there is some constant temperature which we are representing by 4 at the start of the experiment. We start with the solution, assuming the solution is of the form that it is the product of two independent variables. We call it equation number 2. Now according to the procedure, we are taking the derivative twice with respect to x. We will take the derivative with respect to t, first derivative, and we will put these values in equation number 1. So when we take the derivative twice with respect to x, then it will become x prime of x and t of t. X double prime of x and t of t. Since t is a constant, we call it equation number A. We take derivative of this solution with respect to time once, then we take x as a constant and take the derivative of t, it will become t prime. We call it equation number B. Now putting A and B in equation 1, which was our heat equation, give us 2 x double prime of x t of t is equal to x of x t of t. Now we can separate the variables. Like x double prime of x, we take x on each side and t on other side, and we always kept the constant with the t equation. Now we have a situation where the ratios of two independent variables are having an equal sign between them. So it is only possible if both of the ratios are equal to some constant. We call it lambda. Based on this constant, which is called the constant of separation, we have two values. Or more precisely, if we want to write it, x double prime x and t dash of, we do not need to write bracket. So this portion is equal to lambda, this portion is equal to lambda. This gives us two equations. X double prime minus lambda x is equal to 0 and t dash is equal to 2 lambda t. We call it equation 3, we call it equation 4. First we solve equation number 3, which is a second order linear homogeneous differential equation which has 3 solutions based on the value of lambda, whether the lambda is equal to 0 or lambda is greater than 0 or lambda is less than 0. So we take equation 3 first to solve. However, we know that when we solve the differential equation, which is a second order differential equation, we are going to encounter 2 coefficients, and in order to find the coefficients we need the boundary conditions. So the boundary conditions are given for the partial differential equation. However, this is an ordinary differential equation, so we need to find new boundary conditions. To find the new boundary conditions, we write old boundary conditions here given in the question, that is u0 of t is equal to 0 and ul of t is equal to 0. We take our assumed solution, which is equation number 2, and putting boundary conditions to get new boundary conditions for ODE, which is equation number 3. So we know that our proposed solution is in the form of this. When we apply the first boundary conditions, then we will put x is equal to 0 because x is equal to 0 here. Then in place of x we are putting 0, t of t is remaining same, and this u0 of t is equal to 0 because we are seeing here written u0 of t is equal to 0. Physical condition for this boundary condition is we kept constant the temperature at 0 on the boundaries of our one-dimensional object, which is a rod or a bar. So when we see the situation, the product of 2 variable is equal to 0, which means that one of them must be 0. So we cannot consider t of t equal to 0 because of the reason that if t of t is equal to 0, which means that experiment is at the starting point, because t is equal to 0 is the starting of the experiment, and for the further time we have some value for t which cannot be equal to 0, which must be greater than 0. This shows that t of t cannot be equal to 0, therefore x of 0 is equal to 0. Since this condition does not have any t inside it, it depends only on x, so this could be our new first boundary condition. Now for the second boundary condition for this differential equation, which should depend only on x and should not have any t inside it, we again take our proposed solution, and at this time we are using the second condition, and u in place of x we are putting now L, which means that here also we are putting L and t of t, and this ul of t is equal to 0. There we have a situation where product of 2 number is equal to 0, which means that whether t of t is equal to 0 or x of L is equal to 0, And by the same reason, we cannot assume t, which is a function of a small t, equal to 0, since a small t cannot be 0. It is 0 only when we start the experiment. That's why we define our initial condition. That's how we define our initial condition. That's why t of t cannot be 0, which means that x of L is equal to 0. And this is our new second boundary condition. So these were old boundary condition. These are the new boundary conditions, as x of 0 is equal to 0, x of L is equal to 0, and we don't have any time parameter here, so we can apply these boundary condition for the equation number 3. Okay, so we start solving. Equation number 3. We know that this kind of equation we have already solved in previous videos, and this kind of equation based on the value of lambda has 3 different solutions, which is dependent on the lambda is equal to 0, and the general solution would be ax plus b when lambda is equal to 0. It would be a exponential kx plus b exponential minus kx if lambda is greater than 0 or lambda is equal to k square, which is positive value, which has positive value. It will have cos minus kx plus b sine minus kx if lambda is less than 0 or lambda is equal to minus k square. So we see that for the 3 values of lambda, lambda is equal to 0, lambda has some positive value, lambda has some negative value. We have 3 different solutions. We check one by one the validity of the solution, whether these solutions are of our use or not. So we start with the case number 1, that is lambda is equal to 0. When we put lambda is equal to 0 in equation number 3, then we see that the equation will take the form x double dash is equal to 0 because this parameter vanishes. When x double dash is equal to 0, the general solution would be of ax plus b. Now in order to find the values of a and b, we have to apply the boundary conditions, which are these. So applying first boundary condition, we will get x of 0 because we have x is equal to 0 here. Then a into 0 plus b, and this x of 0 is equal to 0, we have seen here. This means that when a multiplied by 0 becomes 0, remaining is b, b is equal to 0. So the coefficient becomes 0. Now we are going second boundary condition to get the value of a. We are going to use the general solution again. X of L is equal to a into L plus b, which is equal to 0 because x of L is equal to 0, we have seen here. Here we see that we already found that b is equal to 0. This shows that AL is equal to 0. This means that product of two number is 0, one must be 0. Since L is the length of the rod, which is a positive number, length cannot be 0. This means that a is equal to 0, we have no option here. Since both of the coefficients have become 0, we cannot use this solution anymore because if no use. So this is called the trivial solution, which means that lambda is equal to 0 gives us trivial solution. Now we use second case where lambda is greater than 0. We use case 2 where lambda is greater than 0 and we put lambda is equal to k square. In that case, when we put the lambda is equal to k square, the equation will take the form minus k square x is equal to 0. In that case, the solution, exponential solution, will satisfy this equation we have already found in previous videos. So the general solution for this equation will become a exponential kx plus b exponential minus kx. Now we apply boundary conditions to get the values for the coefficients, and we will get first boundary conditions, and we are considering the new boundary conditions because we have the differential equation which does not have any component on t, so we have made the new boundary conditions. So when we apply first boundary conditions, this is x of 0, which means that we have to put x is equal to 0 in the general solutions. And this x of 0 is equal to 0. This means that this exponential raised to the power 0 is equal to 1. So both of the terms are 1, which means that a plus b is equal to 0 or b is equal to minus a. Now we apply second boundary condition. In the general solution, so we put L in place of x and equation become KL plus B exponential minus KL, and this x of L is equal to 0 because of the boundary condition. Here we have situation that B is equal to minus A, we can replace B is equal to minus A. Then we see that A E KL minus A, because B is equal to minus A, E minus KL is equal to 0, which we can write as A E KL minus A upon E KL is equal to 0. If we take A from common from here, we have situation E KL minus 1 upon E KL is equal to 0. Here we have situation that the product of two members is equal to 0. One is a bracket term, other member is A. So we have to decide whether A is equal to 0 or the bracket term is 0. When we see the bracket term, that we see that exponential has the power k, which we have already defined that greater than 0. L is the length. So exponential having a positive value and the same term appears here. So for example, if this has some constant value, because for example this has value 5, then this will become minus 1 upon 5. this term is always less than this term. So if we subtract two positive number, this one is bigger, this one is smaller, then this value will always be greater than 0. So you can put any value here. If you put, for example, 4 here, then it will become minus 1 upon 4. And we are sure that k is also positive, L is also positive, which means that this bracket term cannot be 0. This is greater than 0 always. This shows that we have no option but to consider a is equal to 0 because of this expression. And since a is equal to 0, one of the coefficient, and we have already proved that b is equal to minus a, implies that b is also equal to 0. Now, due to this situation, since we have a is equal to 0, we have b is equal to 0 in the general solution. This is called the trivial solution, which means that we cannot go further because of this solution. If we use this solution, we cannot have any other information and we cannot find the distribution of temperature in the rod. So that's why we cannot use this solution, which means that lambda greater than 0 or lambda positive value of the lambda does not give us the non-trivial solution, so we cannot consider that solution. In that case, we use case 3 and take the lambda less than 0 or negative k square. So we take case 3 where lambda is less than 0 and lambda is equal to minus k square. When we put lambda is equal to minus k square, equation 3 will take the form plus k square x is equal to 0, and in that case the general solution would be written as a cos minus kx plus b sine minus kx. Now we apply first boundary condition to get the values of a and b. When we apply first boundary condition, we place x is equal to 0, and when we place x is equal to 0, we see that cos 0, because this term will become 0, cos 0 will be equal to 1 plus b sine of 0, because minus kx we put x is equal to 0, this term bracket term will be 0, sine 0 will be 0, and we do not have anything here, and this all expression will equal to 0 because x0 is equal to 0, we have seen here. This shows that a is equal to 0. Now we apply second boundary condition. When we apply second boundary condition in general solution, it will become x of L is equal to a cos minus kl plus b sine minus kl is equal to 0. X of L is equal to 0. We have seen here. Now we have found that a is equal to 0, so this term vanishes and the general solution is reduced only to b sine minus kl. Now we focus on that term, and we have the situation here where product of two things is 0. One is the b, other is sine minus kl. We have seen that a is already 0. this is the last solution we are checking. So we have no any other chance to get the value of a and b. Therefore, if we just consider that sine minus kl is not 0 and b is equal to 0, then again we will face a non-trivial solution. A is equal to 0 and b is equal to 0, and we cannot further move on this question. Therefore, we consider that b is not equal to 0. We deliberately say that sine minus kl is equal to 0. And we know that sine can have the 0 value if the angle of the sine is pi, 2 pi, 3 pi or up to n pi. Any multiple of pi, we can have this thing is equal to 0. So this expression can be justified if we say that minus kl is equal to n pi, where n is equal to 1, 2, 3 up to so on. Only in this condition we can have that this expression is equal to 0. So from here we can find the value of k, which is minus n pi upon L. We also have the lambda. Lambda is equal to minus k square. So lambda is equal to n square pi square upon L. Alright, so lambda is equal to minus k square. We have the value for the k and we have the lambda for the value for the lambda as well. So our general solution for this equation is now become b sine kx. Since we have seen that a is already 0, so the general solution is reduced to this. We can put the value of k here. Minus minus cancel out each other. Since this is n which varies from 1 to so on, so for every sign there is associated coefficient. Since there are n number of sign terms here, there should be n coefficients here. This makes that this is not a single solution like this, but a solution which has several coefficients, several sign terms. So it is not a single solution. This is a single solution. This is not a single solution because this does not have n, this have n. That's why this solution is also considered as n solutions. So we have found the solution for the equation number 3 and we call it 5. Now we take equation number 4. Which was t dash is equal to 2 lambda t. And this is the first order differential equation. We know the solution is of the form t of t is equal to c exponential 2 lambda t. We have the value of lambda here. We can put the value of lambda. T of t is equal to c exponential 2 into negative n pi upon L square t. Since this has t here, n here, because and n is 1, 2, 3 up to so on, which means that for every exponential term there must be an associated coefficient. Since there are n exponential terms, there should be n coefficients. This makes this a multiple solutions, and the solution is, this is actually n solutions here. I write it here as Tn of t is equal to Cn exponential minus 2n pi upon L square t. Alright, so this is the solution for the t equation. We call it equation number 6. And we now can put equation 5 and 6 in equation number 2 to get the general solution. This was u x of t is equal to x of x and t of t. This is for the single solutions. Since in the solutions of 5 and 6 we have n, so if we put n here, it will make, because of the value of n from 1 to so on, this makes multiple solution, and this is also un x of t. We put the values here and we see that un x of t is equal to bn sine n pi upon L x, and for t of t we write Cn exponential minus 2 n pi upon L square and t. Here we better combine the coefficients. Bn is our coefficient, Cn are coefficients. The product of any coefficient is also, Bn is a constant, Cn is a constant, and the product of any constant is also a constant. So we can write un x of t as, we combine Bn and Cn, we call it, for example, dn sine n pi upon L x exponential minus 2 n pi upon L square t. Now here we use the principle of superposition, which says that sum of the solutions is also a solution. Sum of all solutions is also a solution. What will it make? It will make these n solutions into a single solution. Now this is what we call the general solution of the heat equation. This is what we call the general solution of the heat equation. And we call it equation number 7. Now, in order to find the particular solution, that is the value of coefficient dn, we need to use the initial condition. And where we are going to use the initial condition in the general solution. So taking equation 7, we use initial condition. So equation 7 becomes, it was x and t, but t is equal to 0 initial condition, so we put t is equal to 0 here. Then we have the summation, coefficient, the sine term, and the exponential term which had some t term which is 0 here. So because of this 0, this whole exponential term goes to 1, and this initial condition was equal to 4. So we have a situation where we have summation n is equal to 1 to infinity bn sine n pi upon L x is equal to 4. Now we take the help of orthogonality relationship and we multiply both sides by the term 0 to infinity sine m pi upon L x dx. Implies that 0 to infinity sorry 0 to L, because we have L here, 0 to L dn sine m pi x upon L sine n pi upon L x dx is equal to 4 taken outside of the integral because of the constant 0 to L sine m pi x upon L dx. Now when we open this integral, then we know that this integral would be equal to 0 if m is not equal to n, and will be equal to L by 2 when m is equal to n. So summation on dn will be as it is, summation on of this when open. So this will take the form sine. So this integral would be solved as L by 2. And since this value came when m is equal to n, so we can replace this with from n as well. We have seen this integral when we got the basic review of Fourier series. So this means that this dn is basically equal to 4 2 by L sine n pi x upon L dx. And this 2 and 4 multiply by, and they got the value of 8. So now we have to find the dn by solving this integration. Here I did not write the summation sign because when we solve that integral, then each sign n by L upon x has its own dn. When we integrate it, so we check sine m pi x by each term of dn sine n pi upon Lx. So the only term survived when m is equal to n, and rest of the terms will become 0 because of this integral. We know that the result of this integral is 0 when m is not equal to n, and the result of this integral will be L by 2. So we have only one dn with us which survived when m was equal to n. So there is only dn remaining. That's why we have here dn is equal to 8 by L, because this L by 2 when goes on the other side become 2 by L and becomes 8 by L, and we have this integral as well. Now if we have the function of x here, for example x square or x cube in place of 4, then we would use the integration by parts. But since this is a constant, I took out the constant outside, and this is a simple integral to solve. So now we are going to find out that dn will become we take this integral, it will become minus cos n pi L upon x (0 to L), and in that case, this n pi upon L will taken outside, so it n pi L upon L. So these two L both cancel out each other. Here we have minus cos n pi upon L x 0 to L. And applying the lower and upper limit, we have minus 8 upon n pi here, cos n pi upon L minus 0, because when we put x is equal to L, this L will cancel out each other. We put x is equal to 0, the whole term will become 0. So we have minus 8 upon n pi cos n pi. No. Just a minute. Cos n pi upon L 0, and we know that cos 0 is 1. So this will be 1. Again, we note an identity that cos n pi is equal to minus 1 raised to the power n. So dn will take the form minus 8 upon n pi minus 1 to the power n minus 1. Now we see that n has value 1, 2, 3 up to so on. So if we put n is equal to 1, what will happen? That minus 1 raised to the power 1 minus 1 is minus 2. But if we put the odd, n is equal to odd, if we put n is equal to even, then this bracket term would be 0, because minus 1 square minus 1 will be 1 minus 1 equal to 0. We put n is equal to 2, we put n is equal to 6, we put n is equal to 8. Any even value of n will make this bracket 0. And any even value, any odd value of n will give us minus 2. We can write this result as dn is equal to minus 16 by n pi if n is equal to odd number, and dn is equal to 0 if n is equal to even number. (16 upon n pi), because when we put n even, it will become 0, so dn would be 0. When we put n is equal to odd, this minus 1 remains, minus 1 is minus 2, and this minus and minus would be plus. So we have dn is equal to 16 upon n pi if n is equal to odd, and dn is equal to 0 if n is equal to even. Which means that we do not need the even value of n, we only need the odd value of n. So how can we write it? If we just need the odd values and how to get rid of the even values, we can write it like this. So we can replace n is equal to 2k minus 1 when k is equal to 1 to infinity. In that case, n will always give us the odd value, because n is equal to 2 into 1 minus 1 is equal to 1. N is equal to 2 into 2 minus 1 will be 3. N is equal to 2 into 3 would be 5. So it is better if we replace n by 2k minus 1. So we can write our general solutions in the form of particular solution as summation k is equal to 1 to infinity 16 upon n, 16 upon, it was n pi, so we have replaced n from 2k minus 1, pi is on its place, sine 2k minus 1, so we can write that equation 6. It was equation 7. This was general solution. And in general solution we have replaced the value of n from the 2k minus 1 and we put the value of dn which was 16 upon n pi. So this is 16 upon n pi, the value of coefficient. We had the sine term 2k minus 1 pi upon L x, and we have the exponential term in which we have replaced n into 2k minus 1 pi upon L square and t. This is now, because of the value of coefficient, the particular solution of the heat equation. A general solution of heat equation is enough to solve if you are not going to apply that equation in some computer programming. So if you use this equation and you want to find the result from MATLAB, for example, and you want to see the distribution graphically, then you must need the value of coefficient. So now if you see that the general solution has an exponential value which is negative, so you see that if a bar is at the end of the bar are kept constant at 0 degrees centigrade, no matter whatever the temperature, initial temperature of the bar, eventually when T approaches to infinity, the temperature of the bar would become 0. The whole term would become 0 when T approaches to infinity. So which means that the bar of the temperature will exponentially goes, the temperature of the bar will exponentially goes to 0 as T approaches to infinity. When time increases, the whole temperature of the bar will decrease and eventually it will become 0. So maybe if in the initial, if the temperature is something like this, when you increase the T, then finally the whole temperature would be 0. So this would be the graph if you see the distribution of heat equation. This is a two-dimensional graph. When you apply this result into some computer program software like MATLAB, and you will see the distribution. When you increase the T, it will goes to 0. So this is the physical interpretation of the solution.